Good morning. Well, I think today you're either set up for a continuation higher or it's going to be a turn day. Um, we looked some of that yesterday where prices were in relation to where they came down from. We had an initial move up, it got rejected, and now, as you can see, we're retesting that high. This is the futures where they were rejected from yesterday, where they came down and built a new level of support down here. There was some here, it went through it. And one of the concepts that is real, we talked about this a little yesterday in the green room about, I think Dana brought it up, or whether it was an MT Live, about uh, being more in the moment, or how the method we use makes you shift to what's actually happening. And this is a pretty good example of that, in that when this got rejected, we talked about the void that was created here. And it's like, okay, this looks like it can go all the way back down here, which obviously it could, because, the momentum move creates a void. There's no support. And if it starts turning down, it likely to go. We saw this, over here where it broke down here and how it fell so sharply. So now it creates a pivot. And what's a pivot? 3 higher lows to the left and right. Why 3? It works. You could use 4, 6, 2, whatever. Looking at many different, numbers like that. 3 is a kind of just right in the middle there. And so it works. And now once it forms that pivot and you retest it, it builds this support point, which then begins to shift your bias to, it's holding here. Buyers are stepping up, and that could drive prices higher. Well, higher to where? Look to the left. And now we're at where they were likely to go to. So the whole process now begins. Can it get through here, go sideways, bullish price action, or does it roll back down, making this what looks like, if we were looking at this at 4 o'clock, at the end of the day, we'd say, okay, here's our continuation pattern. If it trades above this level, we go back up to the highs, because that's now entering the void that's here. That, this has come down and created this resistance area. So we're stuck between 2 spots right now, which can make things difficult, other than obviously intraday trading. As you can see, this is what happened overnight as it moved up from that level. So here at the open, we'll see, does it get through it? And if it does, what are we going to do? Nothing, because it's a greater than 100% retracement that taken out the high. It's already run from where it created the support, which is now the bottom of the trading range intraday, above to the top of the trading range, and then pokes up above it. We don't enter there. And well, some would call that's a breakout. It's not a type of breakout that we're going to enter, because especially with this example, there's little to nothing below here. You could share size it here, but down, we really don't have anything to the left yet to use. Now, these overlapping bars, you can see there on my 5-minute chart, is an area of support. But if it pushes through, why not just wait for a pullback, or some kind of continuation pattern, which historically makes a whole lot more sense to do that. All right, I wanted to cover here, I think, on a different instrument. All right, so there we have the futures, and things have been kind of moving in lockstep with each other, and it's going and stopping. So here on the S&Ps, not quite there yet. Maybe if the markets are strong at the open, this can continue to move up into that area. It's got some room before it gets there. Again, inside day so far. Does it close up here, or does it turn back down? If it turns back down and we've got a red bar, well, then we've got a sell setup where we'd look for prices to move lower. Again, breaking these pivots, especially after creating them and coming back here, if it breaks down below that, I only think I can think is it's going down. So right now in a relatively tight range, trading in between yesterday's low and high. Dow, just looked at that up there. Russell. Now, this has been the weaker, and it was, you can see this is still inside yesterday's range. So there's very little movement here this morning relative to the daily time frame. I do like that wide range bar, which is obviously on the news. So far, it's consolidating at the high, and it's at this resistance area. So for intraday trades, I think this has some potential. It's not a great setup. Things were pretty whippy, yesterday as we were looking in the green room at the end of the day, which way things might go into the close. And it was just a lot of whipsaw price action. Fine yesterday. And we'll look at that on the ETFs. Qs, same story here. The nasty drop, got to bounce. Yesterday, thought was maybe this can get up in between the moving averages and this minor resistance. And of course, looking to what is really to the left there, which was nothing, but it couldn't keep going. It couldn't get up there, which is a sign of weakness. And we've got the same range going on here. And so when it gets up to there, what does it do? So far, continuing its upward momentum, and kind of clearing that pivot right there. Maybe we can get back up to 16,000. So it's not far. There's no pullbacks. There's no sideways price action. This is a little bit of a messy type of continuation pattern. And I say messy is because this bar here, went down below and then up above, rather than a bottoming tail type of bar that broke the low and then, closed green, near the high there. So I call it a messy type of 3-bar continuation pattern. But it doesn't have far to go before it's going to hit where sellers are going to want to, that are involved here, take profits. And Bitcoin downtrend, we covered this, as it came down here, can it hold? And it hasn't. And this potential for a measured move lower is still intact. Even though it has stabilized after breaking the low here, it's not a meaningful turn. And now, what would be a meaningful turn, a possible meaningful turn? Well, if this didn't go much higher, and we talked about this in MT Live yesterday, about shallow retracements. We didn't cover M&W patterns. We did cover a lot, but in this situation where this is at this support over here and a shallow retracement, which would be a sign of weakness, and it gets a little bit more advanced as we get into multiple timeframes and patterns further than what we covered yesterday. But because it's traveled this far and it is at that support to the left, a shallow retracement and a retest that would produce something similar to this would be a long setup, even though this is still in a downtrend because of the weekly chart. And I don't suspect this is going to unfold until next week if it should. Now, it certainly could turn and keep dropping with the measured move, but it's just one of these points where, from the short setup, we don't have that, with the measured move bias. It is on this support. So intraday here, kind of the same story. Pivot highs, pivot lows, little trading range going on with a void above. So clearing this, I think, and because, we talked about the correlation that, with this, the Bitcoin and the top here and how it related to the broader markets, you go back and look at your S&P chart and Qs and all that on 11.8, 11.9 around in here, and then the drop. And then we got the stabilization over here. So if this can start moving up through here, right, that would be one piece of information to think, hey, you know what, the markets could continue higher. Breaking below, that'd be one piece of information to think, hey, markets, what we're looking at here and we're already covered, lower. A little profit taking in oil, not much. We talked yesterday about how this turned around, where it looked like it would go lower and had this nice turnaround, and that's been grinding up, which has been helping energy stocks. And as it reaches its destination up here, which is getting pretty close to, we suspect there's going to be some selling, and those energy stocks would see what kind of selling happens there. And can it get through it? Can it go sideways? Start the process over again? Whereas the weekly time frame, it's got a trading range. I'm just kind of laughing a little bit, as this is what this market has been about recently, with these attempts to go higher that look really good, and that they fall apart, where they look like they're going to go lower, and then they turn right back up again. And another little trading range going on here. Oh, that sounds pretty terrible. Gold, same story, breakout, back down, back up again. And well, just looking at the euro, hey, that broke out, which means the dollar's going down. I don't want to get into that now, too long, but hey, this is an opportunity here. It looks like it can go higher. What a nice move. Yeah, it's got that void. All right. And I tell you, my opinion, I've never traded Forex. I don't like the idea of it. I know a lot of traders gravitate toward that. One of the things they think that's advertised, you don't pay commissions, but you can't bid, you can't offer, so you got to pay the spread. You got all of these market makers with different bids and offers. It just seems like a corrupt instrument, in my mind anyway. So if you want to trade euro, yen, British pound, Canadian dollar, why not do it with the futures? Makes a whole lot more sense to me. Transports kind of looks like, we'll see where this goes, but looks like, breaking below here today, if it closes weak, opens the door to this measured move lower, where, which would make sense, coming to the top of the range. Exactly, Fabio. Fabio's saying, and Forex charts are sloppier than stocks and even the futures. But look, the attraction is they're tied to interest rates. So if governments are tightening or loosening, if they're not, and there's indecision, they tend to be really sloppy and terrible. But there are times where the attraction is that they trend very nicely. And a lot of, Forex traders like to use 240-minute charts. I don't know why, but you hear that a lot. But again, trade the futures, as an intraday trader. And again, this looks like a measured move lower if it breaks below here. So there's a lot of different moving parts to keep an eye on, and that is the way things are when you're at kind of an inflection point. It's like, what piece of information will help me or you decipher the next direction? Meaning, will this be a continuation of this move, like we've seen in other instruments, where signs of weakness all of a sudden stabilize and it followed by strength? And we start getting these ranges, and the tighter the ranges become, the more difficult it is to trade. Or of course, don't trade at all, move to something else. And so our method, as what it applies to price action, we don't care what it is. Right now, there is a balance between, hey, I've got all these instruments that I can trade, right? And well, this isn't working out, so I can go to another. But if I look at too much, I'm all over the place. So you have to make choices, especially as intraday traders. The more you look at, the more your focus becomes disseminated through too much. And I don't know, I don't know how some people do it. I mean, I did it back in the late 90s where I could have 20 different open positions and things trended. I can't do it today, maybe because I got older. I don't know. But the way the markets are, I just don't find, from an intraday trading point of view, I just don't find that it works out for me at this point. So anyway, all yours, Dan.
Good morning. Hey, I got that on tape about you admitting about your age and slowing down, just so you know.
Well, I think we all have to, Dan. Otherwise, we're just kidding ourselves, right? I mean, but you know, I mean, I've got aches and pains I never had before, but like you do, you take care of yourself, and
There's actually a good,
death and taxes, as they say.
there was a good, interesting special section of the journal today talking about the future of health and things. So it's pretty good. All right, let's see. All our so great way to keep an eye on this Facebook again. We got a call spread on that. If we were closing, if it were Friday at 3 p.m., I'd feel better. We got the 335s, still out of the money, but it's probably going to go whichever way the markets go here. Everything else is fine. I got a number of interesting trades here, gappers, patterns. So remember yesterday in MT Live, retracement concepts, we talked about jets, and we said if it can take out yesterday's high, then it has a void. And I don't know, when I scanned the other day, I kind of liked Hawaiian, and I see it gapping up here. So if it can hold these gains, I posted that as a 30-minute high, as a nice void. Delta had earning, yeah, Delta, that could be the impetus. But see, I don't like that pattern as much. Now this is stronger than Hawaiian, but I know the 200's right there, and there's it has room to go, but we'll see. Earnings, it has the volatility, so maybe I'll put that in a window over here. Maybe we can sell a put spread on it. Yeah, Ted McGraw. Yep, I was just JKS here, right on my next list. So that's a gap breakout. That's going on my, definitely going on a list here. Nicola gapping up $11 and change right here to the 50 MA, 30-minute high. 30-minute high. It probably looks like it might be ready to go to the 200. This big golf's, big whatever, sporting goods, nice gap, and it's not too big. So this is the only thing that would make it better is if it were in an uptrend and gapping from a multi-week consolidation with rising 20 and 50. That obviously would be a better location of this gap, but if it holds, so I like this 30-minute high. Do you remember our GSK that we entered 2 days ago? We bought a call option, and that's looking great. I'll be moving the stop on that. That's a sloppier pattern, but maybe. ISPC gapping up. Sloppy pattern. I like the other gappers, but that's a something bar. Miro also. That one's gapping a resistance more. I'm not as crazy about that one. Schwab here is a kind of a climactic sell setup, although this bottoming tail was a continuation bar. but it's a bearish gap down, and it's far from the 20. So this is a call spread watch. AMAT up $5. Strong. I mean, you can, it's, you know, it's in an uptrending kind of trading range. And you can see that's how the moving average is help smooth out the data. I got rising 20, 50, 200. That's telling me it's very strong on multiple time frames. I looked at AMD also. We were looking at that the last 2 days for a little bounce, but not crazy about that pattern. Ford, very bullish consolidation here in an uptrend, daily, weekly, monthly. That is interesting. Space gapping down. That's an ugly downtrend. You know how we talk about shakeouts? Look at all of these shakeouts. Look at this early August. I mean, a tail is a shakeout in and of itself too, but look at this upside shakeout in November. That's an ugly downtrend after rallying up to $58 or whatever. Hood, I read in the journal that they said that they're now, you can work 100% of their staff can work at home. Maybe that's why it's so hard to get them on the telephone. Let's see, this was a trading range with a couple failed breakouts and resumed its downtrend. That's getting whacked pretty good here. $8 down. STM, no interest. No, that's Hood again. Never mind. STM, $50. This is an ADR. I don't like the way it trades. ISRG. Somebody emailed me about this. You know, it was a climactic buy setup on support in the 200. You know, we'll see if it can get. It really has to get over this igniting bar right here on the 15. Looks like pre-market yesterday. LBRT is on our long watch list from yesterday. Mix and Bumble, Goldman are upgrading. So, you know, not bad, not bad. This is actually, and I'm assuming all their upgrades come for fundamental reasons, right? I've never heard of an analyst saying, oh, we got a nice buy set up here on support, so I'm going to give it an upgrade. But at least the technicals, it's not a bad entry if you did like it for fundamentals. But let's keep an eye on this for a put spread. You see it gapping up over yesterday's high. Put it in a thumbnail. And then they gave Bumble an upgrade. That's a beautiful pre-market chart. 3450. So it has more resistance to deal with on that hourly if you went over here. But we'll keep an eye on it. ETWO, no interest. I think these might be a couple of earnings stocks. No interest. 345. I don't like that it's up 3 bars. There's our delta. Oh, home builders. KBH had earnings. Wow, that's a big gap. I didn't notice how big it was. Look at it, 4680. It's gapping off the charts here. Wow, that's a big gap. I mean, there's nothing to do with it for a swing. So nail here is the sector. It's one of the home builder sectors. XHB, yeah, there's just no patterns here. But so, you know, sector wise, yeah, let's scan housing and jets. Boeing was up. We were talking about this beautiful engulfing 2 days ago. Ladder. I don't know. You can set an alarm at yesterday's high. RPT is a buy setup. So see, folks, this is right out of MT Live yesterday. Greater than 100% retracement, 40% pullback with a pattern. So that's a buy setup at the 50. That looks great. So RPT, I'm going to set an alarm, 1364. Dollar Tree. Yeah, under the green bar is fine, Scott. VSTs, just a breakout trade, bullish consolidation. You know, there's been a few stocks lately where I've pointed out moving averages like this. And I said, you know, with the market pullback, find me anything that have moving averages like this, and that's amazing strength. So putting that on a chart. I'm going to set an alarm at 23. Yeah, it's actually gapping down. I see here in the minder. So if I can get back up to 23, we'll look at it. There's our Jets. Lulu. You know, I wish it had more premium because this would be a good put spread candidate. Nice 1, 2, 3 from a gap down Climo. RPT alarm. Crocs here. I like the new low reversal on the daily there. So that bottoming tail with a big old price void. So this is a put spread candidate. RPT alarm went off. You know, maybe 5-minute high. Let's see what the market's going to do. Now we have big topping tails on the 4 index horsemen on the 5-minute chart. So I got Nikola and this BGFV and JKS is a gapper. It's holding.